welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I am going to be talking through which universities I've applied for. I will be explaining the process from UCAS to getting my offers to going for my interviews and which universities I was choosing between for my firm and my insurance. But before we get into this video, if you do enjoy my videos and you do enjoy my channel, then please subscribe down below, press the bell notification to be notified every time I upload a video. And yeah, let's just get into it. So I am going to university to study nursing, so when it came to my choice of universities, I decided to go and look at Teesside, Northumbria, Leeds, York and Nottingham. So the reason I chose these 5 universities is because 2 of them were local to me and I didn't know whether I wanted to move away from home or not, and the other 3 were known really well for being good nursing universities, with Northumbria as well. So they are all within the top 17 in the country to study nursing. So the first university I went to look at was Northumbria. This was definitely the university that I thought I was going to be choosing because it is the most local and I have heard really good things about it. Don't get me wrong, Northumbria is amazing. I went to the open day, the teachers were lovely, the facilities were amazing. The only problem I had, and you're probably going to think this is stupid, but I did not like the campus. I didn't like where it was, I didn't like the way it looked. I thought that it was going to be in Newcastle city centre like the other one, and I really like that campus. But it's at Coach Lane, which is like 10-15 minute drive from Newcastle. So yeah, I wasn't keen on the campus, so that did kind of put us off a little bit, because if I'm going to be studying at university for 3 years, I want to be somewhere that I love everything about it. That is a big thing for me, and I was going to move in my second year as well, so I wanted to enjoy the university. Yeah, so that was the problem I had with Northumbria. The next university I went to look at was, I can't remember whether it was Teesside or Leeds, but I'm going to go with Teesside next. So Teesside is located in Middlesbrough. I went down there with my boyfriend and it was really unorganised. I didn't like the city, I didn't like the campus, I didn't like the accommodations. I didn't like it. It was so unorganised on the open day as well. I tried to get into a talk, said it was full. Like the open days all day. I went at about 12 o'clock, everything was full. How is that even possible? You're supposed to cater for the whole day. However, the teachers were lovely to talk to when I was talking to them, but I didn't like Teesside, so I ruled that university out completely just from the open day. So the next university I went and looked at was Leeds. So me and my boyfriend went down the night before, stayed over, and I went to the campus on the open day the next day. I loved Leeds. Leeds was so nice. It's one of the top universities for nursing. I just loved everything about it, the campus, the people, the accommodations, the course, the facilities, everything was just amazing. So yeah, I spent pretty much the whole day there. I went to talks, I went to have a look around, I looked at the accommodations, spoke to the teachers, I got shown around the facilities, and it was absolutely amazing. I loved the city as well. And then the last university I went to look at was York. I unfortunately didn't get to go and see Nottingham University, but I still applied for Nottingham anyway. So York University, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Got the train down, it only took an hour, it was only like £15 return. It was easy to get to the campus. There was a bus that went straight from the train station to the campus. The campus is absolutely beautiful. It's got like a river running through it. I absolutely love it. The teachers were amazing, the facilities are amazing, the course is amazing. So I went to the introductory talk, I went to the accommodation talk, and then I went over to my building where the nursing is held. So I went into the talk and they did a whole speech about the university first, about the course, about why we should choose York, and then the midwifery students were taken to go on a separate talk. And then the man said, "Oh, just to let you know, those who are doing child nursing, there's only 14 places available due to lack of placement areas." This absolutely killed me because I absolutely loved York. I loved the city, I loved everything about it. The accommodations were amazing. So I came away from York, absolutely loved it. I was determined. I was like, I need to do this. This is the place I want to be. So I applied for UCAS, which is what you have to apply through if you want to go to university. So these are the 4 universities that I decided to apply for. So York University, the University of Nottingham, and Northumbria University, and the University of Leeds. So within the first week of applying for my universities and sending off my application and everything, the application is quite straightforward. You need to make sure you have the right things in your application. So my teacher did ours with us, made sure we had everything in order, and then I had to write my personal statement. Personal statement, pain of my life. Absolutely hate writing them. I sent in about like 3 drafts before I actually finally sent it off. I kept sending it to my teacher and she was like, it's fine, just get it sent off. So I sent my UCAS off. Within the first week of applying for my universities, I got an email invitation from Nottingham, which was amazing. Nottingham's one of the top 5 universities to study nursing in, so that's great. So I had an interview, chose that interview, but because my email was delayed and I hadn't got my first one, I couldn't do my interview until the 10th of February. And then the following week I got an update on my UCAS from Leeds. So I went on unsuccessful application. Okay, so I rang them. Bearing in mind, for Leeds you need to have your GCSE science at a C or above, but when I went for the open day I asked the teachers if my A-level biology would be good enough for my access course. They went, yeah, that's fine as long as you get 15 distinctions. Yeah, cool, no problem. So when I rang the university, I was told because I didn't have my GCSE science at a C, that's why I got rejected. So I said to them, oh well, at the open day I was told by the teachers that my A-level would substitute for that. No, that wasn't the case. So that was a waste of an application. I could have applied to another university, but it is what it is. The following week after that, I got my invitation from York, which I was so excited about. York is like the place that I really wanted to go. So I had that interview on the 18th of January. So I booked my trains and everything, and then the week after that I finally got my email from Northumbria for my interview, and that was on the, I think it was probably the 12th or the 13th of January. So these emails came through about mid-December, beginning of December. So I had all my interviews lined up. I had Northumbria as my first interview. Northumbria I was so nervous for. I did not want Northumbria as my first interview, like, at all, because Northumbria was the place that I was gonna go to. So I had my interview. I went, we were taken up to a room, we watched a video, and then we were asked to write down what could have been improved, like the healthcare could have been improved. And then we were split into groups, so I was in a group of 6 and then other people were taken into other groups in different rooms. So then we had a quick toilet break, we had the group activity, which was completely fine. They just asked us what's relevant in child healthcare at the moment, and then we did another group activity where we had to write down what we think the role of a nurse is, and that was like on a piece of paper, kind of like a mind map type thing. And then we were sent out the room, and then we went in one by one individually and had our interviews. So in the interview I was asked why I've chose child nursing, what skills I can bring, just questions like that basically. If I had any previous experience. I can't really remember because it was that long ago, but yeah, I was so nervous. I didn't feel like I did very well in that interview, and I left feeling not so good, kind of deflated. And they said, oh, we'll get back to you within 3 weeks to 3 months. Okay, that's fine. So on the 18th of January, I went down to York. I loved York's interview process. So I went to the building for my interview. We were taken into one of the lecture theatres, asked to fill in some information, put my documents in an envelope and put it in a basket thing. And then we were split into 4 groups. I was in group A, and then we had 4 parts of the day, so we were there for about 3-4 hours. I had my MMIs first, and then I went and had a look at the facilities again, and then we had to fill in some paperwork, and then we had our group activity, but we were only graded, like scored on the MMIs. So the MMIs are mini multiple interviews, basically 5 stations, 5 minutes to answer a question. And this was really important to me because I knew there was only 14 places. So loved my MMIs, actually prefer them to an individual interview, because if you mess up on one station, you've then got another station to redeem yourself. Yet again, I was asked why child nursing, any previous experience, then scenario questions. I had like a maths test on the last station. Yeah, so that was fine. Then went to see the facilities, was talking to a student about his time in York, and just basically asked any questions that we needed answering, that were things we were worried about, or what was the best accommodations, stuff like that. And then we filled in some paperwork, so it was basically just general information and if we had any holidays booked before the course started. And then I had my group task. The group task was playing Cahoots. It was kind of fun actually. It was basically about smoking and vaping. So yeah, I came out of that interview feeling really good, absolutely loved it. Wasn't sure whether I'd done enough to get onto the child course because of how limited a spaces there were. Yeah, so that was York. Now, Nottingham's University. I hadn't been to Nottingham previous to the interview, so me and my boyfriend again went down the night before, stayed over, and I had my interview at 9 o'clock in the morning. In Nottingham, the nursing complex where we have classes and everything is incorporated with the hospital, so the hospital's right next door, and then there's a section for learning. I absolutely loved Nottingham. I wasn't too sure on the city. I think it was because it was quite big, it kind of freaked us out a little bit. But I feel like if I had have went down beforehand and had a chance to look at the complex, I probably would have liked it more. So Nottingham's interview, I was taken into a room. We were given a breakdown of the day. Yet again, we were split into groups. I was with some really nice girls, really enjoyed meeting them, and yet again it was broken down again. So my group first had we went into the simulation. We were able to take pulses on a child, listen to their breathing, just stuff like that. Like basically we got a taster of what we'll be doing. And I absolutely loved that because I hadn't done it in any other interview. And then after that we had our individual interviews. So I was put in the room first, as always. So I was sat with 2 people. One of them I presume was like a person from the course, and the other one was actually a simulation patient. So I had that. Now the interview questions for Nottingham, completely different to any other questions I had. In a way I kind of liked it, but in a way I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to answer this question? I'm going to have to completely wing it. So the questions I was asked were what skills I can bring, how I feel about working with a family unit, if a child had a condition, do you think that you would know the condition more than what the child would? And there was also something else. Actually, at the beginning of the interview, we had to have a question prepared for them so they could actually answer our questions, and it kind of like broke the tension. But I actually came out of that interview feeling really good. I really enjoyed it. I feel like that was the best interview I had done, but that was probably because I had interviews previous, so I kind of knew how to answer the questions now. But like I said, completely different questions. I just kind of winged it. And then I went back into the room. We were talking to previous students and about any worries, concerns, just stuff we basically wanted to know. And then I was shown around the complex. So that was Nottingham. I really enjoyed Nottingham. I kind of left and my head was a bit span. But with Nottingham and York, I had my interview for York on the Saturday. I got an email on the Monday. So I got an email through saying, unfortunately, I was unsuccessful for child. However, because my score was still really high, and the one is I got offered adult or mental health. I showed an interest in adult, and I got my conditional offer through for adult. It was really annoying because I needed 90 out of 96 points to get on a child because there was only limited places available. And I got 85, which was kind of really annoying. 5 more points and I would have been considered for child. So I had a decision to make. So I applied for the adult. Great, York's the place I want to be. I just hadn't been offered child. So I was a bit deflated. And then I had my interview for Nottingham on the Monday and I got my offer on the Tuesday. So I got a conditional offer for Nottingham to do child nursing. I was one out of the 40 people who was going to be doing child nursing, which was absolutely great because I love Nottingham. So I had my conditional offer from York, I had my conditional offer from Nottingham. So basically, conditional offer is you will get onto the course based on your grades. If you don't get the grades, you don't get on the course. If you get the grades, you get on the course. So I had a decision to make. I still hadn't heard from Northumbria, but I decided Northumbria wasn't actually one of the choices I was going to make anyways. It was rather going to be York or Nottingham, and one would be my firm and one would be my insurance. So I waited 6 weeks after my interview from Northumbria, and it just took too long. It was irritating as I wanted to get my student finance done. I needed to do my accommodation. I wanted everything sorted. And Northumbria is actually one of the places that had more spaces available than the other universities. So it was a bit annoying that they were taking so long. Like, I totally get that some universities want to interview everyone first, but student finance was open and I didn't want to be leaving it like for ages to get it done because I know how long it can take to process. So on the 29th of February, I actually decided to withdraw from Northumbria. I didn't want to wait anymore. I knew what I was doing. It wasn't going to be one of my choices. So I withdrew from Northumbria because I didn't like it anyways. It probably would have been the best place for us to go because the hospitals are great up here, the facilities are great and everything, but I couldn't be somewhere where I didn't like the whole place and the whole thing about it. Whereas Nottingham and York was like that. So I had a decision to make. I could rather go to York and do adult with a chance of being moved on to child, or I could go to Nottingham and do child. So I outweighed the pros and cons. If I went to York, I loved everything about it. I could get home easily within an hour. I could still work my job every other Saturday and Sunday and still have an income. And I would be happy there. Like, I could move there. I knew which accommodation I wanted to go into, but the only thing holding us back was it was adult. So I was talking to people and I wasn't sure. People were like, with adult you'll open more doors. You can still go into child. I learned that if I actually wanted to go into child, it would only take us 18 more months to actually study to become a child nurse. So I could do both, and I want to work in a hospice, so I could work on both sides. I looked at Marie Curie's website. It says on their website you only need your general nursing and then they'll train you the rest of the way up, which was great. And then with Nottingham, top 5 universities to study nursing in. They've got 2 of our universities around the world. The facilities are amazing, right next to a hospital where I could train. They've got neurology wards, they've got like everything I could dream of like learning for child. And but with Nottingham, I would have to get 3 trains home. It would be really expensive to get the train home and I wouldn't be able to keep my job, so I would be financially worse off. Okay, so that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a really long one, but I wanted to make sure that I got everything in and everything covered that I needed to get covered. In my next video, I will be telling you which university I chose. I just didn't want to do it all in one video because this video would have been really, really long. Longer than what it is now, and I've been talking for a really long time. So yeah, if you enjoy this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. You can follow me on my social medias down below, and I will see you on my next one. Bye guys.